On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
There's a lot of news in the world today.
News that might surprise you, startle you, upset, or maybe impress.
News that's not always for the faint of heart.
That's why the man who failed his way to success, Heath Oakes, is stepping up.
Tackling today's headlines with ignorance on fire in a way only a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with your host, Heath Oakes.
Now, for the people not a part of the Second Shot Facebook group, did you notice how I took my leadership team out to race Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and all that, and I kicked all of their tails like it was nothing?
Well, because you rewarded them by taking them to do something that you're good at.
They all wanted to do it.
Can we talk about?
They begged me for it. We got Jimmy,
did.
Zach, and Matt in the house.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody.
How's it going? I'm so excited we get to talk about this in the show. I wanted to ask about it at some point. The racing. You smoked the competition by 4 seconds, Heath Oakes.
Yes, it was great.
That is a mile in racing
great.
for anybody that doesn't know.
And I loved it because somebody said, well, did they just the whole let the boss win thing? I go, no. My group is way too competitive for that. Trust me.
Yeah, you don't lose by 4 seconds letting somebody win.
No, they would never let me win in anything. I can promise you. They would try to crush me.
How is this done? Was this like a time trial? You're one at a time kind of thing?
Well,
I assume you're not all out on the track at the same time.
No, usually there'll be about 2 out on the track at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's got the camera in it, and so it's got like all my face for the whole video, everything, and they time trail it on that, and so when you're done, you get your time trials of it all.
Which, by the way, the good people at RNCN, we want that footage. I want to do something with it.
We need to see it.
Yeah, I want to make a second shot, put the logo in the corner or something like Heath Oakes' epic 113 run.
There is a part where my face and the guy that, because you got a guy riding with you helping you, tell you to brake, and go, helping give you advice.
What does he know?
There was one time where he went, please brake, oh God, please brake, because we almost went off the track. I mean, I was pushing it because I wanted to beat them so bad because everybody was talking trash, and he went, oh God, please brake, please brake.
Yeah, see, that's you should have gone first and knocked out your run and then have the rest of them go. Maybe that would have made a difference.
What were you rewarding them for? What was that? Why did they get to do that?
That they just hit the qualifications quarterly of the leadership on my team. There's a certain amount of qualifications. They hit it, then we always do something fun. We have went to WinStar and stayed the night and got everybody spas or golf packages and, Tanglewood Resort, and we went and, operated heavy machinery.
I was going to say, the heavy machinery one was real cool.
We always do something fun. I believe in building the team in general is almost as important as any meeting you'll ever have of just everybody building camaraderie in general. So it was fun, and it was really fun not to lose, because if I lost, I wouldn't hear we
wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Right. No. There would be no pictures posted.
Talk about losing big time and stuff. There's this first headline is pretty funny.
Heath did me a solid before the show started. I want to make sure folks at home understand this too. This is about Jamarcus Russell of the Oakland Raiders. I know nothing about the sport of football, so he filled me in. Jamarcus Russell apparently was a big pick on the NFL draft.
Number one.
Yeah, and then actually landed a spot on the Raiders and was like horrible.
Yep.
Big flop.
Yep.
Huge flop, as you were saying. Yeah, I again.
Him and Ryan Leaf, is who they people will argue over who's the worst overall pick.
Ryan Leaf. Okay.
Right, up in your area, Jimmy.
It's good.
It's an accent and a sport he doesn't understand.
Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell are down as some of the worst flops.
The headline is the Oakland Raiders gave Jamarcus Russell blank tapes to see if he watched his film. The Oakland Raiders took some extreme measures to prove that Jamarcus Russell wasn't doing everything in his power to be a good NFL player, according to New York's WFAN. Former offensive lineman David Deal said Raiders coaches used to give Russell blank tapes to determine if he was studying the film. Deal noted that he would come into the Raiders facilities. Russell would come into the Raiders facilities the day after receiving the tapes, saying that he watched the blitz packages, of course. Who'd have known he wasn't fully dedicated, because he was terrible. Heath, you sent this over. Man, there's a couple ways to go with this.
Yeah, so obviously,
what do you got?
Jamarcus Russell and this whole stuff happened like long time ago because this is old.
Okay.
But it got brought up because David Dill was on the show and talking about it, and David Dill brought it up. That's why it's up. It's not like Jamarcus Russell's the number 1 pick last year. This is 10 plus years ago, probably.
Okay.
But he was just talking about this is what the coaches would do to just see how much was he actually doing or not. So they gave him blank tapes, and he would come in talking like he'd watched them and talk about blitzes, which everybody knew very well wasn't.
Sure.
And I thought about it and thought about inspecting what you expect from a parent to a mid-level manager to an entrepreneur or anything. I believe in that dichotomy of giving your people things and tasks and letting them run with it, right, and not standing over them. But you have to inspect it at some point, what you expect, or you're not going to have a clue. And especially when things are not maybe getting done to where you want, and then you're not, if you tell your kid to make their room and you never go in there and look or not, I mean, how do you know the room was made, right? I mean, you don't. You got to inspect it.
Do you call it make your room?
I don't know, just...
I learned new thing. I always say make your bed, clean your room, but I wasn't sure if that was maybe a Southernism that I needed to learn.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that, and I stumbled over make your room. Yes, I think my thing with this is when you give your star QB blank tapes, when you're talking to your assistant coach or whatever, you're like, I'm going to give him a blank tape, see if he goes home, watches it. And he comes back in the next day and he says he watched it. Why is he... What are you doing at that point? Like, if that's your management style, I'm going to see if I can fool him. Aren't you a little too far gone?
It's not seeing if you can fool him. It's given they need an idea to see exactly who he's going to be on this week and what they need to do, because they need to make sure that, if he says, oh yeah, I've been watching the tapes and he knows all the blitzes, and so then the coach is putting all the complicated plays because he's going to read the blitzes,
right? Then
that sets up the whole team for worse failure. But if he's for sure not watching the tapes, then you can put much simpler plays that, it's at least not going to make everybody look stupid, and you got a better chance of getting it through if you know that he has no clue what the blitzes are coming, then why have spent that time around.
Do they follow that up at all and say they confronted him about this and say, look, we know you haven't been doing this?
I don't know.
That seems like the better option than just putting in easier plays.
Matt, I have a feeling that probably was. That probably did. Deal was just talking about, because in general, this was about that he was actually talking about a whole other topic, and this just kind of came up in it. So who knows if they confronted him, But I believe that in today you have to inspect what you expect.
Yeah,
you can lay out your expectations of things, and you inspecting what you expect is not micromanaging. I'm not saying every day you're going, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? But like, if you give a task to be done in a time frame, maybe it's good to check in halfway to say, hey, where are you at? Kind of give me an update on where you're at. Not every day, but you have to inspect what you expect.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, isn't it true, too, that keeps you from getting too far gone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if they get to the playoffs and then realize he's not watching the tapes, shocker that they made it to the playoffs when he wasn't watching the tapes. But also, we need to totally reformulate. But if they knew game 3 of the season that this was happening, then you can kind of troubleshoot a little bit or figure out why this is happening, or what is your VCR broken, sir? What's happening?
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is, just because checking in, like you say, because sometimes it does happen too. People are frustrated with a manager. They get to their year-end review and they bring up something that this person's been doing for an entire year. And you're thinking, gosh, if you would have told me a couple months in, I could have corrected and then moved on.
Right. I guess that's, and I've called NFL articles in weird ways before, because there's contracts and there's money and there's team contract. I mean, there's a whole thing to it that I don't understand. But I guess I look at this and I think, if you're looking at your chain of your team and you find a weak link, isn't it more efficient to cut that out and save the work for the rest of the chain than to try to dance around it and go, let's all accommodate for this one problem?
Yeah, but when you owe somebody $50 million, you want to do everything in your power to try to get something out of them.
Yeah, when that chain's real expensive.
But here's the thing, Matt. They very well could have, every time he came in like that, they confront him on that. That could have happened. That could have been their inspection, was the blank tapes.
Yeah.
And to call him out on it. We don't know that part yet.
Sure.
But what I think that we too many times people go on a hard line of either or, where they become this micromanager where they're on top of everything and anything, or my my kind of natural style is to just give somebody an idea, thing, or whatever, and never follow up. Like that's always been my weak link. And so inspect what you expect has been something I've had to really adapt to keep in my mind to know when I lay out expectations, I want to inspect it somehow to see if it is getting done, but not be on the micromanaging side where every day I'm going, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Hey, I need you to check in. Every time you take step 1 or step 2, you need to tell me. You don't need to do that, but if there's 10 steps involved, maybe check in on step 5 and see where it's at.
Yeah, I guess I agree. It's just such a slippery slope when it comes to micromanaging, because I feel like when you're going to the trouble to give one player a special set of tapes, different from everybody else, just to check on them, you're already kind of micromanaging. You know what I mean?
Well, they're all.
How do you know otherwise?
Well,
yeah,
there is a reason why they didn't give everybody else that kind of tapes. There was a reason that they thought this person was not holding up to their end of the bargain.
Right. It's a give and take. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that I'll have in my organization, for instance, that I don't inspect near like I used to, because they've already proven to me so many times over and over that they get the job done that I don't have to as much. Mm-hmm. But with your kids or with anything that you do, you have to inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
And that's not micromanaging. If there's 10 steps in a process, they don't need to tell you every step what's going on, but maybe you need to inspect it about step 5 and just see where the progress is headed and then get out of it again. Okay, so there's that line, and I think that if you can really adopt the model of that, inspect what you expect and kind of keep that in your mind of when you give out, maybe it's at home or maybe it's at the office or anything. Just, if you can't just give out all these expectations and never follow up to see where things are headed. So inspect what you expect. We'll be back in a second segment of Second Shot.
He's a suit and tie kind of guy with deep Southern roots. Heath Oaks hosts more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
To all of my friends in the great state of Texas, if you have not taken advantage, I have a way to save you a ton of money. I have saved over about $3,000 in the last year, and I have no hassle. Go to energyogre.com, put in the promo code SECONDSHOT. Now listen, promo code SECONDSHOT, and you're going to get a free month just for signing up and saving a ton of money. So don't be crazy. Stop sitting around talking about, is this the real deal, and go do it right now. energyogre.com, promo code SECONDSHOT, and a free month. Thanks. Go get it now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
I don't think I ever would have thought like I had Mac talking about going to this like 90s country band cover concert. Like you just don't come off as the like country, old school country.
Really?
Type. No.
Well, I am. I mean, that's what I was.
I never would have
born
guessed
and raised
that.
on.
Matt showed us in the studio the other day.
Learn a little something.
You showed us Google Street View of your hometown. Man, oh man, there's like one 2-story building in the whole place. So.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
and it's on the square. So
right. Yeah.
That's the big one.
Hey, you have a square.
Yeah. Well, we did have a.
It was where the Freemasons meet every Tuesday and Thursday.
Exactly.
It was great. It's really something else.
We didn't have a square.
Right.
We had a red blinking light.
There's that bank, though.
In Carlisle?
Oh, no, there's not.
You had two
You're talking
farm
about
to market
Troop,
roads.
the big town. Troop
Troop
had
is
a,
the big city.
Troop had a Brookshire. Carlisle had a blinking light.
I can remember when they put in the second stoplight in my town, and that was a big day.
Oh, man.
Ours is not even a stoplight. It was a blinking light, warning you that this is an intersection.
Hey, slow down, maybe.
Yeah.
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 I grew up in a suburban community on Pop Rock, so that's me. Yeah.
In Houston.
That explains so much, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, golly. Our second headline of the show, and this one, man claims he found dog waste on his seat when boarding his Delta flight. A Delta passenger is disgusted after he stepped in a large amount of dog waste on his plane. He said he jumped up and he asked the flight crew for cleaning supplies, but he wasn't given much help. He talked to a manager. She said, well, that's not my problem. He said, I'm sorry. And she said, well, if the cleaning crew didn't clean your seat, I don't have any control over that. Apparently some of the passengers tried to chip in and help out. He said he got 2 paper towels and one of those little bottles of Bombay Sapphire. That's what he was given to clean this up. Apparently it was a real big mess, according to him. A very, very large mess. Some passengers tried to help out. They said this isn't okay. He reached out to Delta, and a spokesperson said a service animal was ill in the previous flight. They're going to do a full investigation. Safety and health of our customers is number one priority. He has been reached by dozens and dozens of lawyers wanting to take the case. Really something.
So, first of all, before we get into it, the stories about airlines not becoming more like stories from Florida.
It's an issue.
You know what I mean? Like on a regular, like a regular basis, like airlines are consistently just screwing. Like they don't care about customers for anything these days, and the airline industry as a whole is in the middle of a big disruption. We see more small jump starts like Southwest Airlines was when they started.
Sure.
Coming up again because of the Southwest and the Deltas and the Americas that are so huge are just poo-pooing on all the customers. So I just want to get at that other way.
Poo-pooing.
That's funny.
And I think in capitalism, it's good to have some healthy competition. You can't have somebody sitting at the top for too long. Like, that's how it works. Something new and better comes along, and people innovate and try to do something new. But man, the first thing I thought when I saw this, like, well, at least he wasn't on a United flight, or at least he wasn't on Frontier. Like, I immediately think of other jokes I can make about other airlines because they all seem to have terrible reputations. Which is not necessarily indicative of every flight, but man, if every airline isn't bad, why do we keep seeing stories about them? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing: it's just a greater sort of. I see this as sort of the jumping off point in the second shot to the question: why do we act differently at work sometimes than we would as just a normal human being?
Very good question.
Because you heard some of the people on the plane who paid to be there, they tried to help him.
Yeah.
So why is it that somebody in an employee status doesn't first treat this person as a human?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's really stunning. I've got a cousin who is a flight attendant for a different airline. I probably shouldn't say which. He knows people who work for Delta. He says Delta have real high standards. And they take people who are only like seniors in their industries, and it's really surprising to hear something like this coming from a manager.
And I'm sure
at
they
Delta.
do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: this person was treating this as sort of like a put in a box sort of thing, instead of being a person to person, man to woman, woman to woman, whatever that kind of scenario is. Because you would never come across somebody and have them be like, "Oh my gosh, I need some help here. We got a really dirty situation," and have them say, "Oh,
not my problem."
Not my problem. It reminded me of did you guys hear that It's Not My Job, the story of 4 people back in the day?
I want to hear it.
Okay. My parents used to share this with me.
No.
This is a story about 4 people named anybody, everybody, somebody, and nobody.
Uh-oh.
There was an important job that needed to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Anyway,
like who's on first kind of thing.
No, I just remember that, and I'm trying to remember the context. But when I heard this, it made me think of that little quote, and it's just so true. Because look, anybody was helping. The other passengers who had paid a lot of money to be on that flight to be taken care of did it.
Yeah.
But the person who was working, just thought, okay, that's not in my box of the job description, so I'm not going to do it, instead of looking at you as a human and saying, man, that sucks. Let me see what I can do for that besides the Bombay Sapphire.
And there's a great little irony there, because when you're on a plane, you're in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I can't imagine. Anybody who has a dog knows how bad dog feces smells. You're all in this together, right?
Yeah,
that guy
you are all
that
in
guy
this.
got it worse.
Everybody in general
you're in this
knows,
together.
Yeah.
And how much better is it when you're at work and someone recognizes too, even if you're going to do this on a selfish standpoint, how much better is it when you really overperform at your job, or you do something really nice and somebody gives you an honest, wow, thank you. You went above and beyond. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It feels good too. And you're still going to be there for the same amount of time anyway.
The worst thing, there's not much worse than somebody that is that's not my problem, that's not my job person. Like,
it's bad.
You are like, understand, if you're somebody that's not my problem or that's not my job comes out of your mouth, nobody really likes you. I mean, I'm just being real. That is such a nasty me way to be. Now, here's what I wanted to talk about on that is, if you're in a spot, maybe it's like culture, right? Say you're sitting in a culture that's not my job culture, right?
Yeah, and that does happen.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
And maybe maybe your family is. Maybe you look around your family, and it's always like, well, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Well, you are today, right? Like if that culture is getting, whether it's work, family, whatever, how do you change it? And here's the most simplest form of answer. It starts with you eating the crow majority of the time and holding on long enough for it to change. You have to be the one that no longer says, that's not my job, even though it's not getting reciprocated over and over and over and over to the point where you're going, screw this doesn't work, do it some more, and it will change. If you're not the one, if you're in a culture of people that are not about helping others get where they want to go and everybody's trying to step on everybody, you have to be the one that does it, even if it means you getting stepped on at some point, because in the long run, you will win. That's the only way culture changes. It changes with one person, and you're going to feel like, well, how long do I do this when I'm just getting stepped on? I'm just getting ran over, right? No, you're not. You are a change agent. Change agent is not easy.
Yeah.
People have lost their lives over massive change, from civil rights to whatever it is, but in the long run, it worked out. This has nothing to do with losing lives or anything, but what it is that you're going to have a feeling that you're getting stomped on, that you're getting pushed over, but you're not. You're trying to make change. So you have to be that person that consistently does other people's jobs for them, even though they don't, long enough for them and everybody else to understand and buy in and trust that happens.
Yeah, you can.
I love that, babe.
Keen listeners at home, if you listen real closely, you can just hear 19-year-old Heath Oaks, door-to-door salesman, getting told no a million times.
A million.
Being a change agent. Yeah. Is that about me not taking out the garbage ever?
No, because I'm not good at it either.
Okay.
That's like both of ours,
good.
no job.
Okay,
like
good.
both of us
Nobody's
say that's
the
not
VP
our
of
job.
taking out the that'll be Brighton.
Yeah.
Should be the VP of
But
taking
that
out the
thing is, a
garbage.
lot of people will sit around and be listening to this and go, oh, yeah, man, this I could do my work. We'll change it.
Yeah.
You can be the person
good.
that you can sit around and complain about it nonstop, or you can get off your tail and take the beating that it's going to take you of the feeling like you're getting pushed over. But when you do it long enough, see, because here's what everybody says, well, when that person does it, I will, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you've got to be that person to do it. And it's going to feel like it doesn't work. You're going to feel tired. You're going to get it over and over and over. And you're going to feel like, when is everybody going to get in? Well, let me tell you, it may not ever happen there, but somebody will see you as being that ray of light. And you may get a better job that somebody comes across it because they see you being such an awesome person and get you out of there. And it maybe you never make the change in that exact area, but another job, somebody who passes through there for a little bit of time says, you know, Mary or Joseph or whatever, this other place was great, and you get a better job in a culture that is helping.
Right.
So you have to be that person that makes the change, and you have to take the beating of feeling like you're getting pushed over and stomped on and, you know, all those types of things that you're going to feel. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I like that perspective. I like that second shot.
And I think it's tough. People are quick to not dehumanize, but they're quick to hide behind a uniform or a title or a name tag and say, well, I'm at work and this is who I am now, and when I'm at home, I'm this person. We're at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. We're all people, right? We all have problems. We all have people we care about. Like, when you get to work and you're thinking, it's not my stature. I don't have to deal with this problem. I can do this. Like, come on. Just a dude trying to clean up a mess. For God's sake.
Exactly.
and just remember that if you're in a place, an environment where people aren't reaching across, maybe you got to be the one that reaches across that, and you're going to have to do it for a while. Understand, you're not going to do it 1, 2, 3 times and it's going to be fixed. It's going to take a long time. But wouldn't you much rather be known as the person that helped evoke some kind of a positive change in an environment versus being the person that was constantly going, it's not my fault, it's not my job, it's somebody else's deal? Come on. Let's all, like Jenny talked about too, let's all just be humans and help others out when it comes to it. We'll be back on the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Keith Oaks still to come.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
So as you guys know, in the last episode, we crossed 100 reviews, which is huge. So
Yes.
thank you, everybody. Really thank you. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to be like, I have a feeling something about 100's got to be good for like iTunes. Like when you get to that mark, like it's got to help us
Triple
move
digits.
up, right?
Come on. Yeah, it's got to mean
Yeah,
somewhere.
we have no statistics, but we think it is meaningful.
Yes.
We will toast to that later.
So-
At
No,
least
but
we're
we feel.
honest about saying we don't know the statistics. It's just pure thoughts.
Yes.
Right? We didn't try to make it up.
We don't know, but we feel. We're genuine, all right? That's if we've got anything, we've got that. We're,
Yes.
we're honest, we're human.
And then the secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you want to send any emails with questions or just anything in general, you can send it to that
Right,
email.
if you don't want to do it public on the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because the most important thing is the Second Shot Facebook group. You need to go join it if you haven't. I mean, it has been a great community that has been getting tremendous amount of, like, I think, legs lately. It's so awesome to listen to everybody's stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, to hear their questions and what sort of people are struggling with too, to just different ages, different perspectives and things.
The thing that stuns me the most about it is posting something and seeing like 4 people respond in 10 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
it's like getting a warm internet hug.
Yes.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
love an internet hug.
It's true.
And remember,
Yeah.
this is a community that you got a lot of people that are in all types of walks of life. So it's a great community that if you've got questions or wanting advice or you just, anything possible, it's there. It's pretty awesome. And there was I want to bring up one of them, and I'm not going to say their names because I don't know if they want it on air, but you can go, when you join the group, you can find it. But I like this. He talked about, he kind of just talked about the episode 90 that he had just got done listening to. He said, loved episode 90. With regards to the first segment, which was we talked about percentages, remember the odds and percentages.
Yes.
So I learned a valuable lesson about percentages from his father. He was having chest pains, went to the ER. Upon a battery test, it was terminated rapidly, like bunch of issues. The hospital wasn't equipped to deal with it, so in order to get a medevac to get him out of there, storms had moved in. The decision they made to ground transport him, which would take 3 hours. And upon closing like the doors, they said he's going to have about a 15 to 20% chance of making it with that type of deal. Fast forward, he made it. He even beat graver odds as so many other complications came along. And throughout this fight and determination, I learned odds are someone else's expectations being projected onto you. And the worst thing you can do is let that happen. Isn't that awesome? Like to think about is that I learned that odds are someone else's expectations being projected onto you. And the worst thing you can do is let that happen.
That's really good. And some people are naturally inclined to hear 20% as a positive, and some people are naturally inclined to hear that as a negative. So I think it's just good to be aware of what kind of person you are. I know I'm naturally would think, oh no, only 20. I want more. I want a bigger chance. But because I'm aware of that, I can stop that in its track before that type of thinking really derails me and gets me into a bad spot.
Yeah, because even if it's your natural thing, you can change that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's tough. I'm normally, unfortunately, a glass half empty kind of guy. And yeah, when I hear odds, well, that's practically a sure thing. That's why I like talking about that so much last on episode 90, because it's exactly that. It's not over till it's over. It really is.
I've always been the type, if there's like the slimmer of a hope of a chance of any way.
What's happening?
Like when I was trying to get my wife now is there were some people I knew, and they go, oh no, she doesn't have a boyfriend. I was like, oh good. And then I called somebody that I knew her like better than these people and stuff. Said, hey, what's her story? I want to try to hit on her, right? And she goes, oh, I think she's got a boyfriend or something. I go, you think? And she goes, oh yeah.
So he took that as she's single.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What part of I think she has a boyfriend means she's single?
I think.
A couple other people said no. This person said I think, so she wasn't positive. So I leaned to, hey, there's a chance.
You'll always root for the underdog.
Absolutely.
It's like me at every Super Bowl party I've ever been to. Who's got the longest odds of winning? That's what I'm rooting for. Great. Why not?
Well, the difference is I'm usually the longest odds to winning type person. I'm always that person. And I kind of like that. I like the, so you're saying there's a chance.
Well, I'm glad for his family. I love that perspective, and especially with health, you just never know. And of course, doctors are tasked with giving that percentage. They're just doing their job, but you don't have to always take that and own that percentage, especially if it's low.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, and to not let the odds hold you back from what you're trying to do. And then I thought another interesting post that was in there was somebody repeated this tweet. the tweet said, "Big dreams take a long time to come true. They also require experience, and they demand so much failure along the way because your dreams is going to test you. You can't become anything overnight. You don't deserve it." Ooh. And he said, thought of this group as I read this because there are days that seem like to be falling apart in business, and today is one of those days for me. But I know it will pass. The timing of seeing this message is always a sign that I'm on the correct path, even if it seems completely dark. Happy Election Day, second shot, and post that. But I like the end of it, that you don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm. What
and
do we deserve?
We deserve nothing. We deserve
Yes.
nothing. We get to earn everything. We have the opportunity to earn everything. And I remember early in my broadcast career being so frustrated being in this small town, and I felt like I had so much more to give and so much more to offer the world, and I was so excited about it. And why am I in this tiny town and with this terrible equipment, and it always breaks, and I'm lugging my own camera around, and I'm trying to use the GPS. I've got this broken cell phone. It was just, a lot of, thinking I have more to offer. But I looking back at those tapes, and they were tapes, I realized I'm so glad that I was flubbing through all of this in front of a small audience so that I could earn my way to be in a bigger city. Because just a degree doesn't, that didn't earn me anything.
Those oddly not rose-colored glasses, I guess.
Well, no, I'm just saying I had to earn it. I was not good.
Right.
It was not good on the air.
And you look back and know that now.
I know that now, but at the time I felt like I've got it going on.
Yeah.
And why is nobody recognizing it? You see what I'm saying? So I had to keep working and earning it and earning it and earning it. And then also, when I didn't have to work with a broken camera, when I actually got to work with a photographer and work with a producer instead of doing it all myself, I was really appreciative of that too.
All right. Yeah.
And I knew what the individual skills that they brought to the table and how hard those individual tasks were.
Sure. Well, as a young millennial, I can tell you I can't disagree more. I've always been great and will always be great. So there it is. Yeah.
I love whenever I was going through my rough times and was working out of an apartment bedroom trying to build up something that I had no knowledge of really. But like 6 months and trying to build something. What kept me going was when I would be broke, when it'd all be going wrong, trying to figure out how you're going to pay the bills, and your buddy's kicking in to help you out that one last time, and I immersed myself into always, I read a lot around other, seeing the magazines of success stories or whatever it was, and you read, Steve Jobs, or you read just any kind of, I always immersed myself on reading other people that were doing big things, like their stories, because what helped me was realize is that all of them had a long dirt road that led them to where they are. Mm-hmm. And as I would read them, a very common denominator was everybody that's made it, so to say, had a lot of things come their way in a lot of rough times. And it helped me go, here I am whining about me, but why do I think I'm too good to not have to go through this when others don't? And I always look at it and I always go to this, that, I'm not going to put my faith on anybody else, but I'm a Christian. I believe in God, but I respect others, whatever their opinions are. But I've always said, the person who changed the world the most, Jesus Christ, went through some of the worst that anybody's ever had to go through, right? And so it's like, in order to evict change or to have something go on, you're gonna have a long way to get there. And I fully believe the bigger the struggle, that the bigger the reward. And that helped me, like reading other success stories and all that helped me not have that I deserve this mentality. It helped me go, why do I think I'm too good not to have to do this, right?
Right.
And I think that was ruined every English. How I just said that is probably how you're not supposed to do it.
But we still love you.
Yeah, and you were forged in the fires of that struggle, because no matter what, no matter where, and we've talked about this before, no matter where you go, no matter where you end up, you can always look back and go, hey, if all else fails, I can go knock on doors.
Absolutely.
I can knock that out. Yeah, I got that down.
Somebody will always let me sell something and only get paid if I sell it.
Right.
And I can do that.
And that's enough.
That is a very calming sense of almost confidence that I can get. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. That sense of confidence is what got you where you're at now.
Absolutely. So y'all need to join the Second Shot Facebook group. It's an awesome group. A lot of great people. Everybody's really got these same kind of minds, and it's awesome just be around a bunch of good, positive people. So where can they find you, Jenny?
On Instagram, Jenny Ann Chondo. Click on the stories. I have so many hilarious behind the scenes videos of Heath and very embarrassing ones I just shot today too. So I'm pretty excited about it. And then JennyAnnChondo.com and on Facebook, Jenny Ann Chondo as well.
You can find me at AppleZacintosh on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be on that Facebook group too. Facebook.com/group/second shot. Come check it out.
And Ed Heathos at Ignorance on Fire on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'll see you guys next time. Love y'all.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.